Hey y'all, it's Sarah. I am back with at least one more birthday foam core tutorial. I am trying to knock out the very last little bit of this Hobby Lobby package of cutout decor. My last project that I'm going to try to squeeze in is a cute little donut stand. If you've seen something like the little miniature kissing booths or things like that, I'm kind of going that direction, or maybe a miniature lemonade stand kind of direction. I'm going to be using just a recycled box, one of my Hobby Lobby donut cutouts, and obviously I've got some foam core strips out here. And if you don't know what these are, I am using Readi-board brand foam core. This is kind of like poster board, but a little bit thicker. You find it in the same area in the office supplies and school supplies. This stuff comes in a 20 by 30 sheet. This is something that I have cut down and pre-painted. If you want the tutorials on the painting process, that is its own tutorial on this channel. That way I can really put the detail in teaching you how to get this wood grain look. So I already have several strips sitting to the side that are cut in the 3 by 30 inch. Just a quick side note, this video is being sponsored by Readi-board today, so I hope you enjoy the ideas, and let's jump into it. This one is pretty simple and straightforward for the most part. I've got a box. My husband's a mechanic, so this is the kind of box I usually get. The cool thing about these is because of what they're used for, they're always really, really sturdy. This one is approximately 13 inches by 9 inches. You use whatever you can recycle, your Amazon boxes. I've got my 3-inch strips here. I'm basically going to cover this box. And once I get it covered, I'm going to build up, make my little stand, add a little topper to it or sign to it, and be done. So really quick, one of the things that I'm doing is I'm going to cut these front ones down. This is going to be my front section. So I'm kind of just eyeballing here and making sure that I cut a little bit extra overhang so that when this side is glued down, it hides any of what you see from this side and this side. So essentially you want to add about 1/4 of an inch for each end. That's going to put me at probably around 13.5 inches. That sounds like a good size. I'm just going to be using my razor blade here and a simple little cutting mat. Guys, this is the reason my strips are usually 3 inches wide. No particular, I get asked that a lot. Can you cut them any other size? Absolutely. This is what got me started on the 3-inch size, and I've learned since then that it's a pretty convenient size for me. It's a convenient size for my hand to hold and paint and work with, so that's just why they're 3 inches. If you've got other size pieces, I've got scraps over here to the side that I'm hoping I can fill in, and I'm doing this from a weird direction for myself. So fortunately, I should be able to get 2 strips or 2 sections out of one 30-inch strip, since these are only 13.5. I'm not going to make it weird this time. I'm turning it towards my right hand. And I'm just cutting all of these out. I'm not even shooting for super perfection even on my cuts, because this is supposed to be a rustic looking little donut stand or donut booth. So I don't even have to strive for perfection. And my kid is he's gonna enjoy it regardless. This is what I plan on using as my display for his birthday treat. Okay, I've marked these down. I'm going to continue to cut pieces to surround. I'm not even doing the back side of this most likely, or the bottom. This one is going to be a throwaway craft. Once it's done for birthday uses, I really have no other use for a miniature lemonade stand kind of booth. So I'm not going super fancy on this. If you wanted to keep it around for other things, which I think you totally could, I think it could be, the idea could be decorated for different holidays. I've seen it done on a really tiny scale. So I'm just going to continue out, cut these down, and start gluing them to my box surface. Now I'm going to try to glue some of these down, and all of my infinite awkwardness with this being so high up on my desktop surface for my camera. But I'm just going to go ahead, take some regular hot glue, cover my little strips so they get good adhesion, and try to slide them across this really nicely. Let me make sure that they're all gonna line up correctly. Pushing that down flush. And I'm pretty much gonna take the cheater's root here. Just gonna cover this whole thing from edge to edge. If you have not seen the video where I compare faux painted cardboard to the actual foam board, that's worth checking out. I've been asked if you could do the same thing with cardboard, sorta. You don't get as nice of a wood grain to it. You get a sorta kind of look to it. And that's really, that's kind of a personal choice. If you're using it for something like this, which is like a birthday party kind of vibe, I think cardboard could be just fine. It almost has a cartoony kind of look to it, where this leans a little more towards realism. The cardboard almost looks very cartoony. So if you notice, or maybe you can tell, I've got a little gap here. This was 10 1/4. I cut them at 10 because I plan on putting some little decorative strips down these sides anyway. So it kind of worked out. That way I could get 3 of the 10-inch from 1 30-inch strip. And I would only have to cut down 1 strip per each side. And I'm keeping it on the side as I'm doing it. That way my desktop can kind of get me running pretty flush. If you can kind of see what I'm doing there. It helps just keep these flush and even, since I'm not doing a whole lot of extreme measuring. This really is about just trying to cover your box. This is a really good way to make, if you haven't seen my boxes and bins video, this is a really cool way to make some extra storage around your house. I've got several boxes that I have covered that I tuck and hide at different places that have like spare seasonal craft supplies, and nobody is the wiser. And I'm just going to do it to this opposite side, and then I'm going to pick a side to be the top and put a top to it. So I have these spare 1.5-inch strips hanging about. If you saw my donut chalkboard, if you will, that's what these are from. So they're a little bit long, but that's what I'm going to use to come up and hit these front corners. And I'm going to try to make sure that I overlap them in a way that you don't see this seam from the front. You see it like this. So I'm going to attach this part first and then slide this one into place. All I've got to do is get the measurements down. And to make that super simple, I'm not even using a ruler. I'm just going to come in with my pencil, mark that out, and get those cut down. I really like the fact that this is a mostly recycled craft. Now I've gotten these pieces cut down, I can pop them up into place, and you can kind of see what I was talking about on covering them. So while this has got a little slide room, I'm going to hold this one flat so I can slide it up and flush here. And then go ahead and glue this top piece in place. And then we will not see any kind of jointed seam from the front. It'll be there on the side instead. Same thing, I'm going to come in with the hot glue. And really just kind of pop that right in place. I'm going to do the same thing for this other section. Try to get my alignment here from the side so that I can cover up with this other piece right here. And you can see that gives kind of a nice clean front side. So my side pieces are on. Now I get to work on my surface top, or my kind of countertop here. I measured it out, and it took 2 full 3" by 30" strips. I cut them down to 14 1/4, which gives me a little bit of overhang like you would kind of see on a countertop. I'm going to dry fit these in place so that I can make sure that my little bit of overhang is even from all directions. And I want to slide it forward here. That looks about right. So I'm going to go ahead and give myself a little mark across here to know where my starting point is. Let me measure that out so I can get it pretty straight. Give myself just a little bit of a line to get this first piece glued down. Slide it in place a little bit. That way my glue really gets adhered. And then I can slide these other ones in super quick and easy. This one is such a simple makeover for a box. Now, mind you, this one's got an overhang on it so that it looks a little more like a countertop. You wouldn't necessarily put an overhang on it if you were just making it into a decorative box. But you can see mine has kind of a lip to it here. So all I can think of while I'm making it is Lucy's little advice booth thing on Peanut, or on Peanuts. That's kind of the vibe I've got going. So now you can see. The good thing about not doing anything to this back side is this is where I'm likely going to attach the upper arm portion of my booth to hold my sign. So I now have a couple pieces sitting in front of me. I have a 3" by 30" faux painted foam core strip for each side. This has been painted double-sided so that I can use it upwards. I've got a couple random, not even the same color, faux wood scraps that I'm going to attach. I've decided that I'm going from the side. You're not even going to see these, only the edge. I need this to build up so that I can make this arm come up. And I'm just going to come in, glue this little panel right in place. And I'm actually going to make sure that there's glue up at the top of this. Look at those strings. I wanted to make sure I had glue right up here also. I'm going to do the same thing for this other side. I want to get it popped in place and have glue all across it to be kind of my supporting piece for my little arms. They're going to hold this up. I was going to come from the back, but I ended up deciding that I wanted the arms for my sign portion to come up from the sides. I'm getting in a weird spot, you guys, of trying to fit this on camera to show you. So here's where we're at. I'm almost building you guys into this. So I'm going to come in from this direction and attach this piece down to this set right here. Reload my glue because I am going heavy, heavy, heavy on the glue with this thing. And I'm actually going to glue on this surface so I know that every portion of it is getting the coverage that I really want it to have. You can't put a heavy sign on this. You can put a foam core sign on this. That's probably what I'm going to do. And now I can just come in right here. Now, if you're going to have this sitting up on something and you are worried about seeing any of this white ledge, you can always come in with your paintbrush and your paint mixes that you use to get whatever wood tones that you chose for your project and slide in and touch those up. So I'm back to this other side, same thing. Coming in, adding this kind of arm off to the side, and I do not know how much of this I'm going to get to show you. I did not realize how big that this is going to become, and I only have so much room to record from, and my reach is only so tall to pull my camera away. So there we are. I'm going to try to turn this a different direction so you can see where it's at and what kind of craziness is going on here. Can you guys see that? This is the area that I said you could always come in and paint. If you're worried about seeing that, if you're having this set up on something and it's something that you're worried about being visible, just come in with a brush and get a little color added to it. It doesn't have to be perfect underneath that ledge. It just needs to have a little color to it. So I'm going to weirdly, oddly try to turn my little booth here. And I am deciding on sign size. Easy for you to say. So I think I'm going to use two strips of foam core. 2 of these 3-inch strips. So that I have one that ends up making this little sign probably about 6 inches wide. Once I get that attached, I'm going to try to attach it from this back side. And this is where one of these very last, only got one more of these, and I might not squeeze this into the video. But these are the very last of my little package of decor pieces from Hobby Lobby. And it's going to go right up here as my little donut sign. So I just need to kind of maneuver my ruler here. And I think I'm just going to go from right here and measure. And it looks like if I go at around 14.5, which is exactly, it should be half of one of these. So I might get away with only using one strip. Better measure twice and cut once. Yeah, it's looking like about 14.5. So that's what I'm going to cut mine into. Let me slide this big boy over here. And I want to go ahead and measure out this 14.5. Since this is a 30-inch strip, I should be able to get this in one little swoop. So as large as this is, it honestly has not taken that many pieces to do the coverage. You can see, look here, I'm even going to have a whole ½ inch on this one left. I could easily, I'm going to come over just a ¼ inch. So there will be a little overlap on my sign. That should give me close to the same length. Nope, I should have come over a little bit more. Rather than have any waste on this, I made it just a little bit longer. So here's going to be the fun part, is getting these guys attached. I'm actually going to try to do this from the back side of it. I feel like that's going to be slightly easier. I'm going to pull these in to where their measurements should be, since there's a little craziness how they're standing and kind of going out on their own. So this is how I'm pretty much going to attach that. In order to do that, I know that these two links are the same. I'm just putting glue right on this end. You see right there. I'm going to come up. Hopefully get this one flush. And get this one flush at the same time. This is one of those things where sometimes when I'm crafting, I really wish I had a few extra sets of arms and sometimes even legs. So same thing with this one. Really simple. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on that end piece. Oops, she popped apart. I let go too soon. Let's see if once I get both of them in place, they can help each other out. This is usually one of those kind of weird things that I'm begging someone in my household to let me borrow a pair of their arms. Now, I've got all these little scrappy doos right here. I can come in and reinforce this down in here. Just to have that little bit of extra support. I'm not using this thing as a real booth. I don't expect for it to have a rough go of it. But since it will have snacks on it near teenagers, I don't know. It still could get a rough go of things. This would be really cute, even at this scale, for baby photo sessions, that kind of thing. Okay, so I've got that on there. I'm going to flip this back around. I have to paint my edges out, but now you can see there's the little top. Here's the base. All I've got to do now, and I'm taking the easy way out, I'm just going to use some poster tack. I could pop that up here. I'm liable to pop it down here since it's a perfect fit. And then just hang some kind of little birthday banner from up here. But now you can kind of see this entire piece. Hopefully I'll get a photo snapped of it so it shows it off a little better. Thank you for hanging out with me on this and humoring me. I thought it was kind of fun and playful. And we do fun and playful for birthdays around here. And I hope you get to have a little fun and be a little playful with some crafting. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, y'all.